Howdy boys, some new mix here. Alright, this one is something like more 8-string style than before. Let's start with the guitars. Here we got a rear pitch. I'm using this as an octaver. This one is -1 octave. This is one +1 octave, but lower. So let's hear it without. We will talk about this intro a bit later. The on and off of this plugin is automated, so it won't let me do it manually, so I will just zero out the wet dry knob. It just adds some bulk to this without making it too messy, without the need to add a shit ton of low end in the after EQ. So I like this one. This one is Screamer from my favorite plugin company, Nembrini Audio. If I would like to make this mix sound like sludge gent metal, it would sound something like this, maybe. So yeah, this is something like drone doom style. Obviously the pedal eliminates a lot of low end. Actually, I'm bringing some low end into the amp after the Screamer, just to make it again a bit more bulkier. Just a bit more body. Then a classic 5150, my favorite plugins from the same company, Nembrini. I like this amp, very good. This one that I'm not using much, I think using once in a year maybe, the DSP, Neural DSP. Looks like I'm using 2 mics here, no 57s or whatever, a condenser and a ribbon. Just making sure that I like what I'm hearing, and that's it. Only the cab section in this plugin, mind you. For some reason I choose to use this combination of mics, not very typical. This plugin SLU is only on this section, adding a shit ton of low end to the amp, driving it for the specific part of the riff. For this palm muted stuff. Then EQ we got here. Pretty simple. Add some lows, cut out some garbage frequencies. Yeah, pretty cloudy. Yeah, so this is definitely beneficial. Compressor to make the guitars have a spike when they hit after the pause. This rear pitch is only used for the intro. As you see, this parameter changes over time. It's automated. This is how it sounds without anything. Okay. Now we got this brass-like effect. Actually, it's just simple guitar note. So we got a lot of crazy stuff going on here. Usual guitar tone. This is again adding some octaves, lower and higher. Pretty high delay. Of course, some shimmer to make it drawn out a lot more. Again, a compressor to have a spike. And this is where the magic comes. I didn't come up with this plugin right away when I was building this tone, but when I tried this, it just sounded right in the mix. So I'm putting a pitch shifter after the cab, after the amp. It alters not only the tone of the strings, but also the tonal character of the cab and everything you put before the pitch shifter. So it sounds like this. Maybe, but now this is something like having, I don't know, something like a Dune effect for me, some cosmic low-tuned brass section. Neutrate some lows, some highs, just to fit in the. It sounds pretty sick when soloed, but I didn't want all this low end to pile up in the whole mix because it has so much low end. Okay, let's move to the drums. Drum bass compression. Just to add some movement, some density. Pretty easy kick. 3 kick samples, different levels of them. Pretty standard for me. Just added some highs, a little bit of high mids, again mids, some lows. Here's the interesting part, the snare bass. Let's mute everything for now. It's a Metal Foundry, pretty old drum library from TsunTrack. I love this library. It stands the test of time, at least for me. When I need something very, very organic, something very lively sound, I use this library for snares, for toms, for the cymbals, especially for cymbals. I'm very big on using the Metal Foundry for cymbals to get this realistic effect, because it has a lot of velocity layers and something like that. Drum leveler, because we got all those beautiful ghost notes here. They are pretty low. A lot of ghost notes. This one is hard, and this is very mild. So it brings up those ghost notes in the mix, because either way they will get lost. Alright, then a sample, one shot. I think it's 2 1-shots. EQ'd it. Added some highs and some lows. Didn't bother to automate the level of the 1-shot on the ghost notes. Probably I should have, just to make those ghost notes sound more realistic. So it adds a lot of this bite, of this density and consistency, adding up to this lively effect, but not sounding completely robotic and boring. Then a compression. EQ'd up the compression, so I create an attack, some initial bite, very short actually. I think usually for attack sound guys using something like this. I use faster. Bring up some sustain also. Then make it brighter and make it bulkier. Hi-hat, nothing special, no EQ, nothing. I think I got one hi-hat hit. That's it. Toms. This is my favorite toms. I like this. I love these toms. These toms are from Progressive Easy X. Great sounding toms. I just adore this set. This is DW Collector's Maple. Added a lot of high end, a little bit of low end. They are massive sound here. And by the way, the toms are going to the track called Snare Compression, but actually it's a compressor used both for snare and for the toms. Massive. Overheads used mainly for cymbals. I did not having any snare sample here. Metal Foundry, of course, for the cymbals. Added some highs, cut out some itchy high mids. It's been always like that for the Metal Foundry. I got used to it. It's standard. Some refining here, fine tuning. Probably I was doing this change in super sensitive state of mind, something like midway through the mix or maybe closer to the end, when your ears becomes super focused and the mix becomes super focused and every little tiny tweaking at least feels like very significant. Not imperatively it brings something to the mix, but you at least think that you are doing something big. Okay, right. No cue. My favorite ride from BFD3, stock one. I think it's ride Mega Bell. My favorite ride. I'm very picky about the sound of the ride bells when it comes to samples, and I think there's only 2 or 3 ride samples in the industry for now that I like that's having a ride bell hit that I like. Especially it fits the metal to my taste. So this one is sounding great. Other rides are something very murky, not accentuated right. So a little bit of room. It's coming from this plugin of the snare. Just some EQ, not bringing so very much to the mix, to the drum mix. This is how it sounded raw, unprocessed. Bring up those. Okay, let's go to the bass. This is a MIDI bass. Super complicated virtuoso stuff here. I think this is, yes, this is from Impact Studios. I like this for low tunings, pretty great. At least it fits my purposes here. Easy mix, pretty fast way to get a good bass tone. 90s rock bass, why not? From the metal legend Andy Sneap, sounded great for this mix. Just some highs, cut it at the same time, and some lows. It works great when you do not solo the bass, but listen into the context and browsing through the settings in Easy Mix and then bring in some lows, so you are listening what the bass brings in the mix. I like some chesty bass, something like almost like a Limp Bizkit style. I'm not a fan of modern sub-oriented bass, and when it's just only maybe some distortion you're hearing, but no audible lows, only on some big systems or in a car. I like when the bass guitar is present in the upper lows range, so to speak. So when you mute the bass, you totally gonna hear the absence of it. So it will let you accentuate the musicality of the mix when the bass is not playing some notes. If the song written well, some accents of the bass will play a huge role, and it will bring the listener's attention forward. Okay, the master brass, this one, pretty crazy stuff. This is output level is plus 3 dB. Actually, this is only 1 dB of reduction. I use this as a master compressor. I'm not using SSL compression this time. It's an experiment. Pretty steep EQ curves for each band. What do we got here? Minus 0.07 dBs. It makes a huge difference to the mix. You hear this sound flabby, flat, dull sounding mix without it and with it. This is where the gen comes to life, right? Some highs, some brightness, some brilliance. Seriously speaking, this one is pretty drastic here. Add some point to the mix. Okay, Pro L2. Punchy mode, because this is a modern metal. It has to be punchy. Plus 17 dBs. What is interesting about this is set to 1:1 ratio. It means that when you move this fader, the loudness of the mix doesn't change. So you're only listening to what the limiter does to the sound, except loudness, so how crushed it becomes. I prefer to push this fader as much as I can without turning the mix into mess. So I listen to the mix and bring it up just before it starts to destroy the mix, but still it retains the punchiness. Then I put this one, and this one limiter is pretty. It's just a clipper. So I add additional 2 dBs, 17, there is 19. So 2 extra dBs with the clipper. And then tonal balance, just to check the levels of every frequency to make sure it's in the bounds of overall rock and metal EQ curve, so it doesn't overpower the lows, the subs on the subwoofers in the cars and something like that. So if I'm hitting at least this corridor, I feel pretty confident about tonal balance of my mix. Even with this low end bump, because I love low end, the MIDI drums, a lot of velocity editing. The kick also have some dynamics. These ones are pretty hard. This is a bit low, especially those fast. If you leave it like that, it will distort the mix a little because of the master bus limiting, and it's this less dynamics. Nobody likes that. That's it. I'll see you later, guys.